Hello again, and this time I would like to read a story that reminds me of my childhood when I was a kid in the United Arab Emirates. I was there visiting my mother, who had a contract as a musician, and I vividly remember the Shark Isle. The Shark Isle. I was afraid of crabs. I didn't cross on the other side of the Shark Isle. The sharks were the least of my interest there. Mm, And I remember that I visited the oldest mosque in the United Arab Emirates next to a castle. And I remember that I was a little boy, 8-year-old boy, and I pissed inside of the oldest mosque of the United Arab Emirates. So I guess Allah will be angry with me. But I believe in Allah, the Night Mother, so that doesn't matter. Okay. And Shadad was the very, very ancient king of Edin. Arabs would say that he was punished, but I don't believe it. Okay, so Iram of the Pillars, Ubar of Columns, Eden, Kingdom of Shadad. That was a visualization I've made in Blender 3D. It looked a little bit like that in the dream that I will say about later. Okay, so first things first, a citation from Lawrence of Arabia, 7 Pillars of Wisdom. He wasn't a homosexual. I loved you so I drew these tides of men into my hands, hooray, and wrote my will across the sky and stars to earn you freedom, this 7-pillared, worthy house. The deserts, the pillars, and the 7 stars. That your eyes might be shining for me when I came. Now next, I found an interesting reference in Al-Tabarani by Al-Tafsir. Was it Al-Tafsir by Al-Tabarani? The great historian of the Arabic tribes, writing in the 9th to 10th centuries, if I remember correctly. I'll have to check it. Now, in Neunkirchen, he describes the biblical elements in Quran 89 and its exegesis, a new interpretation of Iram of the Pillars, volume 16. So, we then learn that God called it of the pillars because of the emerald and sapphire pillars that were under the city. I've seen such pillars in my dream. Okay, when I was an 8-year-old kid visiting my mother in the United Arab Emirates, traveling on a plane from Warsaw, Poland to Dubai, that was after the first Gulf War, some months after, entrusted to the care of a stewardess, it was something new and exciting to me. My mother was on a working contract employed as a hoppist in a hotel restaurant, and I attended Arabic and British schools for the time of my residency. I don't have many memories from this time, but I vividly remember having a dream of magnificent I had. There was an Arab that always gave me sweets when I kinda sneaked out of the hotel. Okay, I don't have many memories from this time. Monumental, extremely thick pillars that were all emerald greenish in color, shining in darkness and engraved with ancient symbols. I was dreaming that I will descend there with an archaeological expedition through a small passage with carefully carved stairs. While falling asleep in the backseat of my mother's rented car, while watching the moonlit deserts and listening to Spyro Gyra, the two most evocative sceneries that I recall were the dreamscape and the desert. As a 29-year-old, this article was very old, I'm 37 now, this image is still evocative. I still believe that the ancient city of Ubar, also known as the City of Pillars, lies beneath the dunes of the Rub al-Khali, waiting to be discovered, although the Arabs say that the ants will discover it and humans won't touch those holy grounds. Now, when I was still walking, I wanted to use my meager resources. That's me in the place. That's not a Scud missile. It's just some fire in the supermarket. I wanted to use my meager resources to stay in the area and rent a jeep from Oman into the Rub al-Khali region. But that was impossible due to a variety of factors. Although there were countless attempts to discover the city, satellite pictures near the Wabar craters only revealed a trading post fortress under which there were some caves, located at 2131 to north, 5028 for east, which was taken for Ubar, and hence the search was considered finished by some. But it is clearly stated in the Quran that it was an underground city. So it is also written in the holy book of the Arabs, Quran. So you note how your Lord dealt with Ad Iram of the Pillars. These were the first people of Ad. They were the descendants of Ad bin Iram bin Aus bin Sam bin Nu. This was said by Ibn Ishaq. This is the son of Ishaq. They are those to whom Allah sent His messenger Hud. However, they rejected and opposed him. Therefore, Allah saved him and those who believed with him from among them, and He destroyed others with a furious, violent wind of the pillars. It's because they used to live in trellised houses that were raised with firm pillars. They were the strongest people of their time in the physical stature, and they were the mightiest people in power. Thus, Hud reminded them of this blessing, and He directed them to use this power in the obedience of the Lord who had created them. Interesting. Now, the antediluvian period might be coupled with the age of the Ubar craters. 14,000 years ago, there was an impact of a bolide. As we have in this citation, from these we calculated a minimum original mass of the bolide at about 3,500 tons, with an impact kinetic energy of about 10 to 12 kilotons equivalent TNT. This is about 10 to 20 first power ergs, or comparable to the atomic bomb detonated over Hiroshima in August 1945. This was not an atomic bomb, this was a bolide. These energy values are approximate. The incoming bolide probably arrived at the upper fringes of the Earth's atmosphere with over 100 kilotons TNT equivalent of kinetic energy. It appears to have lost most of its energy during a shallowly oblique, probably between 20 and 45 degrees from the horizontal passage before it hit the desert floor. The object arrived from roughly north 60 west. 300 degrees direction, that is direction of modern Riyadh, the capital of the modern kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Rub al-Khali region was not always a desert. Since the beginning of cuneiform writing, at least since the Uruk IV period, there has been a legend of an ancient land where people achieved immortality called Kingdom of Dilmun, but not of unknown location, as historical Dilmun was a later northern kingdom where Bahrain and Manama is nowadays. An ancient Magan was southern one when Oman is nowadays. The excavations at the Sumerian city of Eridu, where the Sumeriana stated that they had come ashore to establish first, revealed material sequences stretching back to 5,500 before modern era, called the Ubaid period. Sounds like Urhamat, direct hit. According to German researchers aboard the meteor ship in 1969, the Gulf experienced dry desertification after a major glaciation 60,000 to 10,000 before modern era, which is consistent with the dating of the antediluvian Sumerian kings list written by Berosus. That's a weird claim, but let's go. There were oases and gardens in the long dry plain. Eden in Alte Arabic or Old Arabic is meaning long, dry, fertile plain. There are only a few surviving settlements, and the little incense trading post that was mistaken for Iram was most likely a much later development. The infilling raised the sea level by 3 meters by 5,000 before modern era, but the current sea level was not reached until 2,000 before modern era. It suggests that the then ancient Sumerians migrated northwards into the Tigris and Euphrates plains, or modern Mesopotamia, only later. It is unclear how Sumerian genetic material developed, but if anything they were autochthonous, having neither Indian nor South Asian ancestry, nor Semitic one. The only genetic material available is from later mixtures after Sumerians intermixed with northern populations, and nowadays, if we have any genetic code of Sumerians left, they are related to Iraqi marsh Arabs. The rate of sea level rise slowed between 14,000 and 12,000 years ago during the Younger Dryas cold period and was succeeded by another surge, Meltwater Pulse 1b, 11,500 to 11,000 years ago, when sea levels may have jumped by 28 meters, according to Fairbanks, although subsequent studies indicate it might have been much less. Now, the flood was geologically registered at approximately 14,600 to 13,500 before modern era, thus ending the kingship of antediluvian rulers of Edin, Ubar, Iram. There was a bolide impact in the region of Rub al-Khali, Wabar, although some sources claim it was more likely later, 6400 to 2500 before modern era. What is interesting that from the impact of the bolide, there was plenty of black stone, so-called, quarried to make god statues during the time of Gudea Pateshi of Lagash, 2144 to 2124 before modern era. Who knows, perhaps the black stone of Kaaba was quarried, and perhaps the stone of Magna Mater Kibele in Rome, acquired during the Second Punic Wars, was also made from this material. Great secret. Note that Homo sapiens sapiens appeared at first 300,000 years ago, evolved, and modern humans descend from a mitochondrial DNA mutation present 120,000 years ago from the common mutagenic pool. So we have let's say, common mothers that other strands of mitochondrial DNA mutations didn't survive. According to Berossus, the pre-Diluvian period lasted 120 SARS of years. I calculated the SARS periods and it amounts to 432,000 years. The tablet has 127 round SARS or 459,000 years for the same period. Now, modern mitochondrial DNA, human migrants reached South Arabia around 90,000 to 55,000 years ago through South Arabian or South Arabic corridor, spreading further northwards. There were several such corridors out of Africa, but for that it requires other resources that I will not mention here. I will provide you with a link to this article, and that's about it. Hopefully only ants will discover Ubar. Although I use some LiDAR scanning devices, I wanted to organize a whole expedition with planes and LiDAR scanners and all that, but I lacked money and resources. So it's up to someone else to discover it, and other projects are also dead, like Project Hyperion, Project Venus, and blah blah blah.